Good morning. Happy Thursday to everybody in the house. Welcome back to the Old Fashioned Sports Show. I am your host, your favorite unk, Anwar Richardson. Happy Thursday to everybody. November the 9th, as it is. Happy holidays. I don't care what Alex says. I know people putting up their Christmas decorations right now. Someone sent me a picture this morning of they got Christmas decorations in the house. So yeah, man, we got a lot of things that are going on today. I got a lot to get into. Not enough time to get into it because we got prize picks that's coming up. We got some prize picks that's coming up. And also got, so that's gonna be at like at 10 o'clock. And hold on, I want to tweet this out. And hold on one second. And hold on one second, huh? Hold on, I'm gonna tease the public. So anyway, so nonetheless, so we got that's going. And then I will I'm also, guys, as you guys know, as a little dab will do you, is the person that kind of got this whole thing started. I am attempting to grow out. I get a little bit more hair here in this mustache of mine, that weak stash of mine. I would call it that. For the month of November, aka Movember, Men's Health Awareness Month. It's a global campaign that encourages men to start to grow their mustaches and participate in various activities. And it's all about kind of promoting physical and mental well-being among men. Things about like prostate cancer, testicular cancer, mental health challenges, and suicide prevention. And so, one of the things that we'll do at some point, these people will email me back if they want some money. we'll donate something to suicide prevention. And we'll get some people on the show, and so we'll work on that one as well. I've got a lot of things to get into to everybody today, including a Thursday morning Quinn Ewers update for you. I will have a Quinn Ewers update that's different than the update that I gave you a few days ago. So don't go anywhere, because I will absolutely get into that very, very soon. That's a teaser. So as I tease along, make sure, oh snap, as I go to the chats and look and see who's here. Rodolfo, you got the number one spot back, Rodolfo? Oh, wow. Rodolfo, it's been a while, baby. And I gave up on you. I think you were so focused on the cook and the Jay Witt and all that kind of stuff. I thought to myself, Rodolfo, you lost it, son. You lost it. But here you are. There you go. If you're not first, you're last. Rodolfo's not last. So congratulations to you, Rodolfo. Go ahead and get it there. My man G is in the house. Go up, G Lewis, in the house. Zio_ V, my favorite Hennessy bottles in here. What up? What's going on in the state? Kiki is in the house. Russ is in the house. Alan, always good to see you. DWD, I love what you always say. Good morning to the horns and haters. We need you as well. Everyone, have a great Thursday. Appreciate you, DWD. Just the dude is here. I'm looking for your second message, just to do, because you never start with one. You always got two. Rogue Shop. Oh, wow. Richard's in the house. Good morning to you. Is that Richard? Is that Richard? Rogue Shop is in the house? It's got to be. Is it our Richard? Why do you not have the your emblem or your logo? Chris Nelson, yo, what's going on? Tom G, good morning to you and all the Texas lovers across the world. Sounds like a song to all the Texas lovers in the house. To all the Texas lovers in the world. Just another Vegas reviewer. Good morning to you, sir. Dale Coleman is in the house. Lewis Gain is in the house. Good to see you. Jared is in here. Michael is in here. Morning from the snow-covered in New Hampshire. Boy, how you live in those northern states. I lived in Michigan for a few years. Never want to go back to it. Never want to go back. So I don't know how you guys do it. You got snow in November. It doesn't get warm until June. You get to Memorial Day weekend, it's still cold. I don't know how you do it up there, but good. Hey, thanks for checking me out there in New Hampshire. Javier Rubio, tell you something good. I will have you a Quinn Ewers update. You can tell me if it's good or not. Money B, we in this thing. You good to see you. Eric Hart is in to see you. A little dab will do you. A little wake and bake. Odie Catch was here. Ben is in here. Texas Guy 2 is in here. Jared is in here. The Junior Dogs is in here. My main man, Don Corleone Burgess, is in here. Ryan is in here. Jesse is in here. Gabe Lock Tex is in here. Jared said, text that Wingo's going to Iowa. We shall see. Sark After Dark. It's been a while to you, but he said the road to state starts tonight. Good luck to all those Texas high school football teams. Go Vandergriff. Go Vandergriff. And go to Eric Henry. Mark Henry's son, who plays there for Vandergriff. Mark Henry's a good friend of mine, and I know his son plays, so props to them. Vandergriff plays tonight, or do they play on Friday? I thought Vandergriff plays on Friday because I was invited to go to the game, but I had to go out to Fort Worth. But Sark After Dark, you let me know. So you live out in the Sark After Dark, you live out in the 4 Points area? If you're a Vandergriff fan, I'm assuming you live out there in Four Points. You live out there in River Place. Just let me know. Who else we got? I want to make sure I get everybody. Good morning to you. Doug is back. Darian is back. Robert Kemp is back. Paul is there. Mike Gillette is here. Longest Horn is here. Scott Grayson is here. And then Sark After Dark tomorrow versus Lake Travis. Woo, okay, that'll be a good one. Shout out to Vandergriff. You know, I live out in Cedar Park, and you know that we are big rivals. But when I first moved here to Texas, I lived out in Steiner Ranch. So I lived out in those apartments that are on the corner of Quinlan and 620. I forget, Meritage is what they was called. Meritage at Steiner Ranch. What a horrible apartment complex they were. Just straight trash for what I spent. And so nonetheless, I did got new management. We'll see if they're still trash, but what an overpriced apartment complex that was for the crap that they delivered. But nonetheless, then I had to move out of Steiner Ranch because I couldn't stand the traffic. And then Blake May, luxury apartment, my ass. It was luxury-ish. Moved into that thing, moved into it. They were still doing construction in my apartment. And wouldn't try to put me up anywhere. And I had to deal with construction for like days. It was such a trash place. I don't want to even get in. I don't even want to live it. Nonetheless, I'll just keep going on. And South End Zone Queen is back in the house here. And by the way, yeah, Benji, of course, I said that's when I moved here. I have a house now. I have a house in Cedar Park. But nonetheless, when I moved here, I like to rent in areas before I would try to buy them. So I was like, oh man, I might live in Steiner Ranch. I was like, I hate that place. It's too much traffic. And then I found a place in Cedar Park and I rented a house there for like a year or so. And I was like, I like this area. Kind of gave me like a little bit of a small town feel. And so it was kind of like small townish, but still close to the big city. So I was like, Cedar Park was just good enough for me. So that's where I ended up being. The last thing before I guys give you the update and give morning to you, Brown Hammer is in the house. And I don't even want to know what you're talking about, Jared, with the She Hooksum thing. The last thing I want to make sure I mention is the first part of your show is brought to you by my main man, El Presidente, Eric Sells Homes, DFW. Because if you are looking for a home in the DFW area, you don't have to look any further than El Presidente. Eric Sells Homes has got you covered. Looking to buy a home, looking to sell a home, whatever it is, and I don't know what else there could be. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could technically rent a home, but it's one of the two, right? But if you're looking for it, and you're thinking about, hey, you want to do something right now? I mean, why not buy a house right now? Who the hell's trying to buy a house in the month of November? Nobody. Get a good deal, right? Someone's selling a house in the month of November. That means they need to get rid of it, right? I have a friend of mine who works in the real estate industry, and she's got people right now who are going through divorces and they've got to sell the home. And so like they're some of them are taking a little bit of an L, all of it. So I'm not saying to capitalize on someone's misery. We're just looking for deals any way we can get them, right? So maybe think about buying a home. maybe you're thinking about selling and you tell yourself, you know what, I'm going to wait until next year, but I need a good realtor. Eric sells homes. He will have you covered. So go ahead and hit him up. That's a QR code. That's that dude. Eric sells home, and he'll be here tomorrow to give us his picks. And, he's hovering around 500, but nonetheless, we got Eric, and he'll be able to handle that thing for you. Good morning to you, Jaime Gutierrez, as my Spanish improves. Good morning to you, Billy Bird, and of course, good morning to you, Benji. I feel like I mentioned you, but nonetheless, I want to feel like it is. Okay, without further ado, I decided, because last time, earlier this week, Taji let me know that there was a report out there about Quinn. And I was like, okay. I had to go look into the report and find out certain things about it. And I think on this channel, I was able to, not only on this channel, but of course on Orange Bloods as well, I was able to kind of report where that thing stood and what I was told, not what I thought, but what I was told at the time was that it's about like 75-25 that Quinn would play against TCU, which was really an encouraging report. Check back in today right before I got on air, just to kind of see where things are at as relates to Quinn. And here's the latest that I could kind of pass along to you. Today, Thursday's practice will be a big day in determining what happens with Quinn and his availability for Saturday. So what's been happening behind the scenes is that he has thrown in practice. He's been very limited as far as his throws. Nobody's been allowed. Has not been allowed to throw a bunch of deep passes. He hasn't been allowed, go down the field, not let it loose or anything like that. So he's been very limited in the throws that he can make, and of course in the pass attempts that he's been allowed to have. Okay, so that's what's been going on behind the scenes. Today becomes a bigger day because Quinn will be allowed to actually try to throw some passes and go a little bit outside, and they're going to try to stretch the arm a little bit. He'll be allowed to throw a little bit deeper. And so now what's going to happen is to determine is, can he throw those passes, and can he throw them without being in much pain and discomfort? If he can do that, that'll be good to go. But this is going to be this is almost like a two-part authentic. What is it like when you do the two-step authenticator kind of process? It's going to be kind of a two-step thing, okay? Because the first part and the first step is going to be, okay, can he make the throws and not be in pain and discomfort, right? So how does that look for him? So that's one, okay? Second part is going to be, though, how does that shoulder recover the next day? Because as you guys know, in South End Zone Queen, you work in the medical profession, so you would be able to attest to exactly what I'm about to say, which is you can test out the injury on, let's say, a Thursday, but then how does your body react several hours later, the next day, right? How does your body react to that? And so one is, can you do it? And then secondly, how does your body react to it? In South End Zone Queen, it's probably something more specific, more technical that that there's probably words that I don't know, right? I'm you know what I'm saying? I just report. I'm not required to be a medical professional, but there's probably more technical terms that could be used to describe what that process looks like. So that's what that is. So it's going to be, can he make the throw? One. And two, how does the shoulder react not only the rest of today and then the following day? And, the thing is, when it's all said and done, and I think there's a third part that let me say this. Now, this is not me. This is not my sources. This is just an Anwar. So that's what's said. And now there's a me conversation that needs to be had, right? I think the third part about this has to be, okay, is there some sort of thing that you can give him that can help with the pain in order to kind of get through the game, right? Is there anything that, there's whatever it is? I don't know if kids in college are allowed to take shots. I don't know how that goes. I don't know what the procedures are, but to that degree, right? Can we give you something that can get you through the pain? Now again, that's not what anyone's telling me. That's just my who I done sports for a living, right? That's how you get people back on the field, right? You are like, hey, can you take a little something to get on the field? So that, and I don't know if that conversation is had. I don't know if that conversation will be had. I don't know what that looks like, but there is a thought process of like, hey, what can we do to get him back on the field? So again, that's why I say today will be an important part of the evaluation process. And when they have practice this morning, it looks like I'm looking outside, looks like I'm in Cedar Park. It looks like it's about to rain. I don't know what it's looking like around the university area. So I don't know if they'll be inside. I don't know if they'll be outside. And I think also, you got to remember too, the thing about maybe helps Texas in this instance is that they don't play against TCU until Saturday night. So that also, so it's not like, hey, Saturday at 11 o'clock, where you're just like, man, you have to make that call on Friday or today. Like right now, you can almost say, all right, let's see how he looks on Friday. Let's see how he looks most of Saturday. Like maybe that day or two could make a huge difference. You're getting an entire day to see, with that shoulder. So I think so that's why I think so. Steve Sarkeesian will address the media at a little bit around 11:10 a.m. I'm not quite sure he'll be able to give us a definitive answer as relates to Quinn at this moment. Now, look, if Quinn goes and he just balls out today and he's throwing like 50, 60-yard bombs and feeling no pain, is like, I'm good, then all right. Then Sarkman came out today and say, man, yeah, I feel good. Quinn's going to start. If that doesn't happen, then I think, he may tote the line as far as what the decisions are going to be made. Or if he's just able to see, like, my man can't go, he may let us know about Malik. But I don't know if on Thursday he will make that call, right? I don't know if on Thursday Stark is going to tell us definitively this is going to happen or that's going to happen. Now, again, it's Sark. So it's Sark with the who knows when it comes to the injuries, what he will or will not say. And South End Zone Queen talks about, for the pain and soft tissue swelling. Oh, she must be talking to someone else. Okay, so she goes, yeah, recovery time. Can you put that on the screen for me, Blake? Because South End Zone Queen works in the medical field. So I want to make sure I get someone who actually knows what the hell they're saying, not me. She goes, yeah, recovery time, making sure not to hurt from overuse. So been on a pinch count. And yes, there are non-narcotic injections called, is it called? You guys know, I don't know stuff about meds. Torterol, I think is what it's called, which is oh Lord. Which is the equivalent to intramuscular, stronger than Advil. Thank you, South End Zone Queen. And then she adds in that's going to be for the pain and the soft tissue swelling and the inflammation as well. So hopefully that update kind of helps you understand where we are in real time. And I think what is it, Javier? Javier, you go Toradol. I don't know. Listen, man, I am not a pill person. I don't get into pills. I don't get into the med stuff. I don't know what any of these things are, y'all. I'll just be honest with you. I just know pain and I know shots, but I don't know any specifics. I know a lot of people know a whole lot about pills. I don't know anything about that. But you call it Toradol. I don't know. I'm probably jacking up the name of whatever it is, but you guys know what it is. As long as you guys know what the hell I'm trying to say, then there you go. So that's kind of, like I said, that's kind of where we are in real time as relates to Quinn. I think like I said, we might know a little bit today. I still, Jeezy, I 100% agree with you. I would, if I had to put money on something, I'd put money. Good morning to you, Mr. 512. I'd put more money on a day-to-day update than more so than anything else. Can me ask you this, South End Zone Queen, by applying that special word that I can't pronounce, by applying that, does that cause any structural damage, or does it just help one to deal with the pain? Because that's really what it becomes about, right? It's like, can you put something on that helps you deal with the pain, but doesn't necessarily cause structural damage? But where he's at in the nature of the injury, does putting something like that cause more, or does it not do anything, right? So I'm just kind of curious from your expertise and your medical perception, what we're talking about as relates to that. So yes, like I said, see Sarkeesian somewhere around 11:10. We'll get a little bit more, and that's kind of where we are as far as everything is concerned. So let's do this, Blake. Let everyone digest that. You guys continue talking in the chat, and then we'll do a quick break. And then when we come back, I want to start talking a little bit more about TCU, the kind of the things that we kind of need to know as relates to that team. I'll give you a little bit more, obviously, on Quinn as it comes in. I'll be texting some folks in real time as relates to that. But there you go, right now. Hopefully hopefully that update was enough to get a like from everybody who's watching this show. I'm hoping that update's enough for you to say, you know what? All right, I like it. I just for that alone, I'll like it. Sometimes I don't love you, but if you know what, if you're gonna go ahead and give me some news to start off my day, so I am engaged and I know where we stand, more so than where anybody else does, then hopefully you give me a like. All right, let's do a quick break, and then when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about Texas versus TCU. Be right back.
I'm taking the 3 points.
Yeah.
And I'm putting the pressure on Texas to score points. This is an incredibly gutsy call, especially since Kansas State's been pretty terrible in this part of the field offensively. They have not completely known who they want to be. I think they've wanted to be power run game with the quarterback, and it hasn't worked all day. And the thing that they've spread Texas out and been very good just moving the ball like an actual offense instead of like caveman. All right, here we go. It's fourth and goal. Kansas State is going for it. They're in 12 personnel. They got 2 tight ends on the field. They got 3 backs. They got 3 to the left. There's nothing there. Howard he's going to get sacked. He throws the ball up. It's incomplete. The Longhorns have won the game in overtime.
Wow. How about that? Found a way out of it.
And they went gimmicky on their final play of the game. They ran trips to the left, a single receiver to the right, and they go right in terms of the direction, and it's covered, and there's no secondary option. And Howard is on his back foot trying to figure out what to do. He stumbles. He just throws the ball up in the air. It could have been an interception. It gets dropped, but the ball game is over. Final from DKR, 33-30. Longhorns hold on. And Chad, I would have taken the field goal.
Man, oh man, absolutely.
Someone said catch Summerall. That was actually pretty funny. Yeah, all right. So hope you guys do that. And yeah, AGs, by the way, I do agree with you. It would do Sark no good to say anything definitively today. You want to probably keep TCU guessing and have them prepare for both quarterbacks. There's no need for him to come out and say anything definitive today. If you're Sark, you're as vague as possible when as relates to the media. Why would you? What's the win here? So nonetheless, yes, hit that like button. Thank you, Alan. Go ahead and tell everybody, man. You get updates in the morning. Hell yeah. Smash that thing. Smash that like button. Appreciate that. All right, let's talk a little bit about TCU, guys. Appreciate that. Let's talk a little bit about TCU. AGs, you're like, I agree with Anwar for agreeing with me. That's what you just said. You're like, I agree with him for agreeing with me. AGZ, I do agree with you. Don't make any sense. Keep them guessing. Why the hell would you give TCU any kind of advantage? Like, forget that. Well, don't worry about that. They'll be all right. So let's talk about TCU. And I look at this thing as relates to TCU, and as this series seemingly kind of comes to a close here, I think for the Texas perspective at this moment, I kind of just view it as just end this thing, and I wouldn't even call it a rivalry. I wouldn't call it a rivalry. Whatever this thing is called, it's probably a rivalry from a TCU end, not as much as a rivalry from a Texas end. Texas has its rivals, obviously. Oklahoma is a rival, right? A&M is a rival. Like, everybody else is just teams, right? And so I think I kind of view it almost to a smaller, lesser degree, rather, than a bedlam, but kind of the same thoughts that I had going into last week with that series, which is, hey, it's the last one. It's the last one that people are going to remember. You want to have scoreboard for the rest of your life. I mean, that Bedlam trophy, that Bedlam trophy will forever, ever rest in Stillwater. It's done. It's done, right? That trophy, it goes back and forth, whatever. That trophy will forever be there in Stillwater, right? And so I think for this one, there's no trophy. But I think for this one, you just want to be the last team to win it. And if you're Texas and you throughout your history have had such great success, not recently, you've had a lot of great success. You know what you want to do a team like this? You just want to say, all right, man, like, look, it's like fighting little brother. And little brother sometimes has success against you, and little brother kind of gets licks in on you and things to that effect. And at some point, you just got to say, all right, let me just kind of remind you that your little brother, punch little brother in the chest, punch little sister in the chest, because I know the ladies out there, the girls fight as well too. And you just let them know, you let your younger sibling know, like, all right, I'm the top dog here. Let's just go ahead and remind you of that. Let them cry to mom, and then you move about your business. I look at TCU as this program, and we're going to get into the weeds in a second. And I'm just kind of starting off in a general overview. A 4-5 team that is basically back to reality. Like, last year was that anomaly for them, but this is kind of who they are. Last year was the miracle. That was like the thing that you said to yourself, like, that's a once in a lifetime thing. That will never happen again. TCU will never be able to repeat that. It's funny. I was going through like TCU's book of their stats and kind of going through some of their game notes, and they had mentioned like it was like the second time they had competed for like a national title, I think, or a title, like the other time was like in 1930 something. I'm like, all right, come on now. Like, I mean, where were we in life? Like, who was we in fight? What war were we in? What teams had to have people go serve? Like, what are we even talking about? It's time to remind TCU that it is the little brother that you guys grew up knowing that Texas usually just dominated, right? And they're a 4-5 team. I mean, and it's funny because they started off and Colorado beats them at the beginning of the season. And we thought to ourselves, wow, Colorado, look at this team. Good morning, Jimmy D. They've arrived. Look at that. They're coming. All this kind of stuff, right? Do you believe, right? Then we kind of realized that, well, Colorado's not that good. And then we also realized, TCU's not that good either. Right? This is a program that, yes, they had the loss to a Colorado team that's not that good. They've lost to West Virginia. They've lost to Iowa State. They got smashed by K-State 41-3. And they lost to a Texas Tech team that none of us really think are that good either, 35-28. And I think the thing we have to realize, because I saw some things on social media, and people I forget, I don't know who had said it, so I forgot. I wish I remembered. but they were asking about, why are we not talking about TCU the same way we talked about some of these other programs? And I think it's just always important to remember that Sonny Dykes is not Gary Patterson. No, Sonny Dykes coaches at the school in the program that basically Gary Patterson built, right? But Sonny Dykes, he's not that, he's really not that dude. And I know last year happened. And then you'll tell yourself, all right, well, Sonny Dykes has had some success, and I'll give you the numbers that kind of point to it. But let's not forget that overall in Sonny Dykes' coaching career, he has an 88-70 record. He's got a .557 winning percentage. Before last season, in all the years that Sonny Dykes has coached, he's only had one double-digit win season. That was in 2019 when he coached at SMU, and they were 10-3. Outside of that, this man has had 2 double-digit win seasons throughout his career. Now, I know you'll point to with Steve Sarkeesian and say, well, what about him? Conversation ain't about Sark. Right now, I'm focusing on Sonny Dykes and where that program is as they sit there at 4 wins, literally having to win 2 out of the last 3 to become bowl eligible. And by the way, they face Texas, Baylor, and Oklahoma. And if they don't beat Texas, then I'm not quite sure they become bowl eligible, because I'm pretty sure they lose against Texas. Pretty sure they're going to lose against Oklahoma. And at best, they may be able to defeat a Baylor team. Maybe. Maybe they become bowl eligible. Maybe. I don't know. Now, listen. So there's a lot of things that are being said. And we'll talk about this season. This is where the program is. Can I tell you where the program is? Let me tell you where TCU is. Remember around this time last year where Texas is about to face TCU? This is a petty part of me. This is a petty part of me. Y'all forgive me. Pray for me if you don't believe in pettiness. It was around this time last year that there was the story in the Austin American-Statesman. And that story came out because TCU was having all this success and Texas wasn't really having like all that kind of success, right? And so the story comes out in the Austin American-Statesman that says, Chris Del Conte wanted Sonny Dykes, but everybody else wanted Steve Sarkeesian. Remember that? And it was a really convenient story that came out to say, you know what? That's really who Del Conte wanted. He was kind of forced into this Sarkeesian thing, right? That came out. That was only a year ago because of the success that TCU was having at that time. I ain't seen that story this year. I have not seen that story this year. I haven't seen it be said, that's the coach that they wanted. That's not being said this year. You know why? Because TCU is not that good of a program, and Sonny Dykes is kind of a mid coach. All is right. That's what that was, right? But let's be respectful, and let's give respect where respect is due. Okay. So since the beginning of Big 12 conference play, TCU is 8-3 versus Texas. Been 3-2 against them in Fort Worth, 5-1 in Austin. Cannot forget that. So let's be respectful. I remember my first trip. To Fort Worth, by the way, 2015. Because my first year on the beat was 2014. So my first trip was in 2015. Got to go to Fort Worth. It was really cool, right? It was got to go to like the stockyards that are down there. Really cool. I went to like the museum and kind of looked around. It was really fascinating. Fascinating just to kind of learn about the history of the stockyards. You would see like the horses kind of coming in and out. Things like it's a really fascinating place, right? It was really cool to like learn something new about it. I went through that museum. It's just open, right? I guess I call it a museum. It's a stockyards, but it looks like, but dude, they have all the old photos, right? Of people, the past, and you can kind of read up on stuff. It's fascinating for me because I didn't realize how many Black people had like an influence in the rodeos, but many years ago. So it was interesting to learn about, all the different cultures, not only Black, but Hispanic cultures, and really learning like maybe there's a lot more inclusion in something like that, which was really cool to learn about. I liked it. In going to downtown Fort Worth, it was really cool just to kind of see their downtown and find different places to eat and drink and all that kind of stuff. So liked it. I like Fort Worth. Really cool city, and I like the history that's involved with it as well. And so I remember talking to some of my sources about going into that game. And I remember them feeling really good about their chances against TCU. Now, TCU had kind of curb stomped them the year before. They had beat them 48-10, right? And so they felt really good that they're going to go in TCU, and they got something for Gary Patterson and everything like that. And if you remember, Chris Bennett, if he's in the chat, I know Chris Bennett will remember, but I remember like in the first quarter, it was 30-0. It was 30-0 in the first quarter. And I was like, what the hell is happening here? They had that horn that was going, the little choo-choo train thing that they were making. I remember they were showing, and I was at the game, and I remember they just showed like Charlie Strong just looking like, I can't believe this is happening. He's just like just no answer. And they end up beating down Texas 50-7. Just beat them down, right? Trevon Boykin, he threw for 5 touchdown passes in that game. Josh Doxson had 2 receiving passes and touchdown passes in that game. And the Texans had fallen to 1-4 after that year. And then, yes, TCU had beat Texas for the first time in consecutive years since the 1958-59 season. And they, in those 2 games, they outscored Texas 98-17, right? So I get it. So there's been some recent history. I'll never forget that. Like that was the first because I was like first season Charlie Strong. Okay, I got things happen. Then that happened. I was like, oh, this ain't good. I realized quickly. I was like, oh, this ain't good. This is not gonna be good. I don't think this is gonna finish off well. I don't think this is gonna go well. And so yeah, I mean, obviously I'm trying to go through some other things, and let's see, Dykes technically is 3-0 versus Texas. Okay. He had a victory against when he led Cal to a 45-44 victory against Texas in 2015. I remember that season of 2015. That's the Gerard Hurd season where it's won that game. And then Gerard Hurd goes off, and then kickers do what kickers do. That thing happened. They also beat them 50-43 out there in Berkeley. I remember going to that game as well. Never went to a game that had as much weed smoke as that Cal game did. That those guys sitting out there on that hill, boy, I was like, really? This is what we're doing? And boy, there was way more weed smoke. That's the thing I remember. I remember Texas losing, and I remember thinking to myself, they are really, you could smell it in the stadium. I'm like, this is just what they do out here in Cal, huh? They just sit out there and smoke and just watch the game on the hill. Like, there, okay, well, there it is. So it brings us to this year's team, right? So this, we went through the history. So that brings us to this year's team. Again, I kind of going back and forth a little bit, but a 4-5 team, it's not that good. And realistically, they've kind of got one weapon on offense. Imani Bailey. And Imani Bailey, he's rushed for 908 yards. He's the running back, obviously. 4th in the Big 12 as far as rushing yards is concerned, 14th in the nation. And it's the only thing that you really need to know is that he's topped 100 yards in 5 games this season. He's their main weapon. Really, that's about it. Blake has a stats for us to look at. So let's do a kind of a stat comparison. You can take me off the screen, Blake. You can just take me off, but you can put the stats on. Because Blake, I do that because when you get old, Blake, you got to get close to the screen to see it. So I don't need anyone looking up my nose as I try to look at this screen. Here's a statistical comparison that you guys can kind of go through and check out. Make sure we had this for you. And you can kind of see where the rank is as far as total offense is concerned, as far as the rushing offense and the passing offense. Some effectiveness there from the TCU point of view. Thank you, Blake. Oh, look at this here. Oh, looky. Your breakdown, and so TCU has been able to score, but the defensive standpoint, that's where you kind of see the big disparity between the two programs. You can see that overall TCU's defense, total defense, ranked 77th in the country. Texas is at 30th. You can see from a rushing defense standpoint, you start thinking about, okay, how do you beat this TCU team? Well, look at that rushing defense. That's 70th in the country. Texas is 10th. So when I say Imani Bailey, he's been very effective. He has been very effective. And he's going to go against the 10th ranked rushing defense in the country. That's going to be a tall task ahead. I just kind of see if there's any one of these. So keep scrolling, Blake. At the third down percentage. So you look at the third down conversion percentage. You got that 25 at 25 for TCU, 86 obviously for Texas. But then the defensive portion, and that's where Texas is getting off the field. The third down percentage defense. You look at TCU, they're 68th right now in the country, but Texas is second. Texas is getting off the field on third downs. That defense is ranked second in the country. So this is for all y'all who are talking about Pete K. And where is Pete K? All this, we need to get rid of Pete K. I don't like this defense, and so on and so forth. Let's just be clear when it comes to the third down percentage, as far as converting on this defense. There's only one team better in the country than Texas at this moment, and that Texas is doing really well is there. I'm trying to see if there's any other categories that are really worth highlighting. I mean, you guys can see the red zone offense and red zone defense as well. And again, red zone defense, Texas being tied for 2. Thanks for Blake. Texas being tied for 2 in the country. So we're talking about third down, essentially getting off the field, and red zone defense tied for second in the country as well. And then everything else is kind of, just some good stats to know. A time of possession, Blake, you point that out as well. I mean, my God. I mean, goodness gracious. TCU don't have the damn ball. Like, what is this, Blake? It's 119th in the country. I mean, this is crazy. They're horrible as far as time of possession is concerned. And then you can see that Texas is 54th. So when you start thinking about things that Texas may or may not do, I think it's very easy, especially for you Jonathan Brooks fans and for you Jonathan Brooks fan club people, Texas is going to run the ball. I think that's because very clear that Texas will run the ball. That will be kind of the way that they attack them going forward. So I want to make sure you guys got some of the stats, some kind of the news and notes as far as that is concerned. Now, I will do a couple of other things. And I want to go through, I'm just going to kind of go through some things here. So shout out to Joe Cook for doing the heavy lifting and transcribing the press conference. Thank you for transcribing Sonny Dykes' press conference, Joe Cook. Shout out to you. I appreciate you. And so I just want to go through a couple of things that he was able from Sonny Dykes' press conference as well. He was asked, and this was on Tuesday. So he was asked on a quarterback where TCU will start Josh Hoover. He said that he thought Chandler Morris is healthier, because I think the big thing we're trying to do this week is just get an evaluation on him. He clearly wants to play. He's excited to get back and help the team win. He's got a great attitude and wants to do the right thing, because I think the biggest thing we have to do is making sure he's healthy, we protect him, and put him in a good situation. So there was that. He was also asked, and this kind of goes back to what you and I talked about a little bit earlier, AGZ, about if they're preparing for multiple Texas quarterbacks. He goes, we have to. because anytime you play anybody that's got multiple quarterbacks, you just have to prepare for both. The game plan probably won't be that much different if it's one quarterback or the other, but that's just my guess based on what they've been in the past. And so basically, I was talking about the importance of practicing for both. And they do have to practice for both. Now, I think the benefit for TCU from a practicing from both standpoint is that they know if Malik Murphy's in there, he's not going to really run the ball. And he's probably not going to try to get out the pocket, the way that Quinn will. So that, there's one way to kind of practice for both, right? Which is, okay, here's a young quarterback. We just got to throw a bunch of different looks at him. Quinn, you probably got to be a little bit more honest and not be able to do those things. But with a young quarterback like Malik, then you just know, okay, you're going to pressure him, see if he can make some bad decisions, see if he's going to let the ball go. That will be the TCU strategy. I know that. I mean, that's not going to be any rocket science or anything to that effect. So, but he does talk. So he's asked about preparing for two quarterbacks. He says it makes it a little bit more difficult, obviously, because I think that's just the nature of college football. You start looking around the league. It's starting with us. There have been a lot of starting quarterbacks who've gone down, a lot of backups that have to step in and play. It's just the nature of the beast right now. True words have never been spoken. And it was one thing that I thought was interesting. He was asked on him playing Texas for the last time. He goes, it certainly doesn't change our preparation or anything like that. It's probably more of a thing for the fans, honestly, than it is for the players. Because I think there's always motivation when you play against programs that are historically successful programs or big programs, or however you want to phrase it. Because that may be a little bit of added incentive, but from a coaching perspective, we're going to coach our hardest every single week, no matter who the opponent is. And yeah, I'm sure for the fans, it means something. But I will tell you this. When you're having this kind of season that Sonny Dykes is having, the way you salvage it is by beating a team like Texas. He can say what he wants to say, and he can say it means a lot to the fans. But let's just keep it a buck, and let's just keep it real. If they can have the season that gets salvaged, the only way to salvage it is by beating a Texas. Because anything else will be like, beat Texas. How many times did we hear coaches say this year, hey, I was just told by the fan base, if you got to win one game this year, you better let that game be Texas. This is the most idiotic statement. Like, why would you even go up to a coach and say that? You're happy with 1-9, but as long as that one win was against Texas, you're good. That's where you are. That's pathetic. That's a pathetic fan. That's a loser fan. Your fan base is full of losers, and that's how they think. They think, I would want to beat one team. Well, then you're a loser. So any party came up to a coach. I think Randa said that. I forget there was somebody else who said that. That's that foolishness, that gibberish as well. I mean, let me be that person. Let somebody say some crap like that to me. Let me be a coach someone says like that. No. You want to win as many as possible, and Texas being a byproduct of it. Anyway, it was a random, but I feel like it was somebody else who was a loser that said that. It was Randa and somebody else. There was somebody else who said it. I forget who it was. Some loser. And just because it's just loser mentality, and I don't like loser mentality. That's all that is. So there's that. Then let's see. He was also asked about the Texas offense. He says they've got good players. He goes, I think the biggest thing is the good players. He goes, probably to me, the biggest difference is the way the team is built. Texas team in the last decade have probably not been as strong of a team as this one is up front on both lines of scrimmage. I think the strength of this football team is both of their lines. Typically, when you have a team, you can say that about, that's a good football team, because I think they're constructed the right way, of course, built the right way, of course. That's the way you build football teams from the line out. Their offensive line is big and starting to get more and more experience. A lot of those guys have played a lot of snaps, and they're really athletic. Same thing with the defensive front. They're playing at a really they say their defense fronts. They're really, really big, really athletic, playing hard, and playing at a high level, because I think that's what makes this team different than the teams in the past. It goes on. A couple more things here that I think are worth noting. Why do people text me while I have a show on? Like, where? Why is it? Why do you not understand this? But hold on, let me make sure I get this information to this. It's a national reporter who is asking me this. Hold on one second. It's a national person. These national people ask me stuff all the time. Don't think these nationals always get their information from their own sources, by the way. Okay. Nonetheless, so he was asked about Jonathan Brooks. I'm sorry, guys. I just got you guys got to know. Like I'm telling you this all the time. I'm not a radio guy or a sports host that just somehow is a reporter. I'm really a reporter who just is somehow doing a show. And so there's a part of me that I don't know if I fully have adjusted to the you're a host, but I can't. It's hard to put the phone down because things are happening in real time. I can't put my phone down for like 3 hours. So there's so many things that happen in real time. So I'm like, I find myself multitasking, but I appreciate you guys being patient as I do those things. It hopefully provides a good show, and hopefully you guys get to see how the sausage is made when it's all said and done. I like the transparency that I'm able to have with you guys as well. But asked about Jonathan Brooks, says he runs hard. This is what Sonny Dykes says, because that's what I'm impressed with, just how physical he runs and how he finishes his runs, has strength, speed, and power. And just like a lot of players, just a really, really good athlete that's playing well. He goes, you got to give them credit. They've got a lot of weapons, and the guys are performing, playing well, and figuring out how to win ball games. You look at what Texas has done. They've had to hold on in some one-score games. They've managed to win those games, and that's why in the situation that they're in, we've managed to lose some of our one-score games, and that's why we're in the situation we're in. That's fair enough. Really, can't get any fairer than that, because really, that's what it comes down to. That's college football, and that's the way it plays out. Because I think if you look at the difference between our team this year and our team last year, it's 7-1 in one-score games last year and 0-3 in one-score games this year. That's the margin between winning and losing in college football. He was asked about the front seven, so he kind of commented on that, and that'll be kind of the last thing there. So he's asked about the front seven. He goes, it's easy to see on tape. That's the thing about it. When you turn the tape on, you can see how big, how powerful, how strong, and how deep the group is. When you look at the success they've had in short yardage situations, 4th and 1, and then 3rd and short, those type of situations, because you're good at those situations when you have really dominant, physical, strong, hold the line kind of guys. That's what they are defensively. They're big, they're powerful, they're athletic, they can rotate a lot of different guys, and it creates problems for you. And that's the kind of way, that's where we're at. And that's kind of where we're at as relates to it's kind of where it relates to like TCU, and making sure that we have the conversation on them as well. That in addition, I will also have like a breakdown tomorrow. So when I get into like the predictions and everything, I'll give you more of a breakdown tomorrow. I'll give you like the 5 keys to victory against this program going forward and things to that effect. So let's do this. Let's do another break. Then when we come back, let's do 2 things when we come back. I'm going to give you the 5 reasons that I believe Texas will run the table. So I'm going to give you the 5 reasons why I believe Texas will run the table. We'll do a Quinn Ewers reset. Of course, that coming into the top of the hour as well. So I'll reset all the information as it relates to that. I'll give you 5 reasons that I believe that Texas can run the table. 5, and then I don't know. I'll decide. We've got social media standouts, but we also have buy or sell. I don't know what you guys are more eager to have today. If you want, and I'm going to let you determine, because we only got another 30 minutes. And so it really is going to be what you guys want the 30 minutes to look like. I will throw it to the floor. If you want buy or sell, then I'll give you 5 reasons to believe Texas will run the table, and then we'll do buy or sell. But social media standouts, I can say we can do that. And Blake and I can just save what we have until tomorrow. But I see buy or sell is probably going to be the winner. So let's do this. Let's do this. All right, buy or sell is going to be the winner. So then let's do this. Let's do a break. Let's come back. We'll reset the Quinn Ewers for those who are joining the show late. So let's reset Quinn Ewers. I'll give you 5 reasons I believe Texas will run the table, and start getting your buy or sell questions in the chat now. I know, Chris Nelson, you hate Thursdays. I know, man. I got to cut it short, man. I got to get out of here. We got all these shows that got to get here. So, Thursdays becomes the shortest show. By the way, just so you know, Chris Nelson, we will not be doing any show on Thanksgiving Day. Just so you know, just play that in advance. If you hate Thursdays, you can go and hate it in a few weeks. So that's kind of where it's like. So let's do a quick break. I'll be right back. Get your buy or sell questions in the chat, and I'll make sure I'll knock those out as well. I'll be right back. He talked about injuries. He actually did not say specifically what Christian Jones' injury was. He acknowledged that he was injured, acknowledged that guys were fighting through injuries. We talked about Kelvin Banks going down, Henry Connor going a little bit, but no, he did not say anything about the specifics of Jones. I think that got kind of lost in the shuffle when it was all said and done.
Because kind of dishonest about that as well, because he was asked about any other injuries that we haven't talked about, and that never came up.
But he was very happy with Baxter and Brooks. Both of those got, not only Baxter getting that touchdown, but he was also very happy that both guys, Baxter, I think, was close to 100. Obviously, Brooks goes over it. And so, he was really happy with being able to have those running backs back there and what they were able to do. Somebody asked him, the funniest question, somebody asked him about what's it like to have a guy like Bert Auburn for you. And he started talking about he's a guy that he has a lot of faith in. And I was like, wait a second. For real? Are you messing with us? But he did. And him having faith in Bert Auburn is probably not that I believe to be true. I just think Stark has more faith in himself as a play caller than anything else, that he's actually going to have these plays work. But I think at the end of the day, Catch, when it was all said and done, and those are kind of the only real specifics, everything. And actually, when I say real specifics, I've gone through most of the press conference. At the end of the day, he went back to hey, he felt like it was a culture win for them. He felt like, yes, sure, they could have played better. Absolutely. But he said they found the way to play better at the key moments, when it counted. He talked about being down, on the 4 or 5 yard line and then, 4 straight snaps, and his defense was able to get the stop when they needed to. So, that it all goes back to, hey, it didn't go perfectly, but at the end of the day, it's 8-1. He said 8-1 sure coming to you at 8-1 sure feels a lot better than it would be at 7-2. And he's like, and I'm not going to apologize for that. All right, welcome back. And by the way, Blake, let's tell people about Specs, the good people over at Specs right now. Listen, it is almost Friday. Of course, forget Friday. I need to re-up today. But it's time for you to head over to Specs for all the good stuff, your beers, your wines, your spirits, your snacks, the mixers, everything that you need, the ice, all that kind of stuff. Specs has got you covered. It's game day, baby. Texas versus TCU. Blake, let the good people know what they can get.
No matter what you're needing, Specs same-day delivery can save the day with our Specs app or online shopping. From world-class wines to hard-to-find spirits and craft beers to gourmet foods, delicious snacks, and spectacular sweets. It's Specs. Cheers to savings.
Cheers to you, man. You get that stuff delivered and everything like that. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Deliver that thing to the house. I ain't getting up. I'm just sitting here. I'm just ordering all the things I want. Get your stuff ready. Holidays around the corner. Holidays are coming. Thanksgiving's going to be here just in a couple of weeks, right? 2 weeks from now. Ain't that something? Yeah, Thanksgiving is going to be here. It's right around the corner. So yeah, you guys go ahead and check out Specs. for all the things that they have and all the things that they've got going on. Check them out. All right, so let me do a reset for those of you who kind of joining the show, weren't here at the 8 o'clock hour when I kind of talked about this, but you're joining me now, and you want to kind of get a little bit of the Quinn Ewers update. By the way, get your buy or sell questions in the chat as well. But yes, I'm Anwar Richardson, cover the University of Texas football team. For those of you who are unaware, for orangebloods.com, been doing this for almost 10 years. The latest on Quinn Ewers is that today will be a big day for Quinn Ewers in the evaluation process. According to my sources, this is going to be a day where they allow Quinn to throw the ball a little bit deeper than he has in the past. He's been throwing a lot of short passes in practice throughout this week. Just style of short things, nothing too strenuous, nothing to that effect. Just, here and there, taking it easy. It's usually kind of part of the ramp up. Today, Thursday, this is the big day in practice. Can he make the deep throws without a lot of pain or discomfort? I think I called it like a two-step process as far as trying to make sure where he's at. The first one is, can he make the throws? That's first and foremost, because there's been some soreness that's happened in the shoulder. So can he make it? That's the first thing. The second thing is going to be, from the recovery standpoint, how much swelling is there in the shoulder the following day? How's he feeling the following day? Like all those kind of things. So that becomes an issue, or I say issue, but that becomes kind of a challenge or something that they need to monitor. And then third, those who are in the chat, I will not attempt to say the word for some reason. It's becoming it's a hard thing. But what if there are certain things that can be used as a pain reliever? Can you administer that to him on Saturday in order for him to be able to play through the pain? And so the two things are kind of the main two things what I'm reporting. The third thing is just more of a general Anwar's just years of covering, sports, the NFL, all that. That's just my, okay, what 1 + 1 equals. That's all that is for me. Mark Ruiz said the rogue product. Yeah, that would definitely be one as well. I don't know if they could put that on, and I don't know how that would affect his drug test. Probably not that well. So probably not a good thing to use the rogue product. I have used it, though, for my broken pinky toe. That's for sure. So that's kind of where we are with Quinn. I think I told everyone that Steve Sarkeesian will address the media at 11:10 a.m. The only thing that I'm not expecting Sark to give us a full update at this moment. I'd be shocked about that. I think from a competitive advantage standpoint, it behooves him to just say, hey, it's going to be a game time decision. And I think it's got to be a game time decision. I think you've got to give Quinn as much time as possible. And so and the good part is the game is on a Saturday night. So that gives you Saturday to see how the shoulder is, rest of the day to see how the shoulder is, Friday to see how where the shoulder is and see if there needs to be more rest. And it gives you all day Saturday to kind of see where the shoulder is and then see, hey, by Saturday night, are you ready to go? I think it's sounding more and more like a game time decision. Unless Sark just comes in and blows it out the water today. And Sark may just come in and be like, hey, just as FYI, this is going to happen. I'd be shocked, though. I'd be shocked nonetheless. And good morning to you, Mike Torres. You just landed in Vegas. Yes. You I represent. I represent my peoples down south. I represent y'all. And of course, my son is out there as well. So there is that. But yes, Darwin, young people do heal fast. So he's getting close. Like I said, he's getting closer. The main thing, Darwin, is the discomfort and the pain. I'm going to look through what I was was text today. Soreness. There's a soreness that's there that exists. And then, it's just about, hey, when it goes to make the long throws, how much pain and discomfort that he's in, that would be the big. And, and that other thing, though, can I just say this? If I'm Sark, if Quinn could throw it 40 yards down the field and be okay, then that's good. I mean, right? If you saw, and I was talking to Blake before the show got started, and he actually raised a pretty good point. I mean, it's not like this is a team that's just throwing it 50 and 60 yards down the field. Like, that's not what we're seeing, right? So if he could just be effective, the two things, if he could play pain-free or pain-ish kind of free, right? If you can rely on your run game, and then you could just have them make the throws that are 25 to 30 yards. There you go. Let your playmakers do what they do, right? You doesn't have to do a Madden play where it's just the deep, those deep passes when you would call back in the day, you play Madden. I haven't played that in years, but back in the day, that's what you would do. If you could just do that, I think that's all you need, and just not turn the ball over, which that's kind of the big thing right now. There's been 4 turnovers in the last 2 games. Like, that's the big thing. Like, hey, can you put a quarterback out there that's just not going to turn the ball over? I think that's some, and then go from there. So I think it ends up becoming kind of a game time decision. And so there's kind of a couple of different things. I'm not sure I want to get into those as well. And this is where I have 5 different things that we're going to do buy or sell. So five different reasons why I believe Texas can run the table. Okay. The number one reason I do believe that Texas could run the table is if Quinn Ewers returns, right? That's number one. Blake, I probably should have given this to you. That's my bad. But don't worry about it. If they get Quinn Ewers back, okay, don't worry about it. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this because we're going to also do buy or sell. And I know there's a bunch of those in there, so I want to get to those as many as possible. But as we start thinking about the next 3 games and Texas having the ability to run the table, which is kind of what we're looking at here, him being really close. If for some reason he can't play, for some reason they just go like, you know what, that 25% is too great for him to play, then yeah, that at that point, you say to yourself, okay, can you get through this game with Malik Murphy? But him being close to returning and getting closer to returning is a huge sign of optimism, I think, for me, and of course for you as a Longhorn fan, that Texas might be able to pull this off over the next few weeks. This is going to be how many games and how many days when it's all said and done, because you're going to have that short week. So you're going to have it's going to be 3 games in about 18-day kind of time period, something to that effect. 20 days, 19 days, something like that. I don't know. I don't have time to do the math. The second thing that I think you have reasons to be very optimistic about is that Texas, just so you know, Texas has scored over 30 points a game in every game this season. And you have an offense that's averaging 456.8 yards per game. That's 18th in FBS. That's pretty damn good. That's pretty damn good. That if you got some reason to be optimistic, and this is with Quinn being out too, right? Yeah, and I know, guys, you guys have got to chill on the Arch conversation. It's not going to happen. It'll take a lot to happen, and I think if Arch hits the field, if you see Arch on Saturday, something wrong has happened, and I'm just going to tell you that you don't want that as your alternative. Not to say Arch is bad. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is it means Quinn couldn't play, and then Malik was really bad, and his team was trailing, and then you had to go to Arch. And that's what I'm saying is if you turn into Arch at some point, this is not going good. It's not to say Arch is bad. It just means it's gotten to that point with this team in that game, and you don't want that smoke, okay? You also have got a number 3, a defense that is ranked 30th in the country, 2nd in third down conversions, and tied for 2nd in red zone defense, which has been led by Tavondre Sweat and Byron Murphy. The 4th reason I think you have reason to be optimistic about your team running this table is that you still got playmakers. That's the thing. That's why it's going into these last couple of games. I know you got a young quarterback who's learning, and you got an older quarterback kind of who's banged up. So you know what that means? You got to let your playmakers be playmakers. You got to let Jonathan Brooks do what Jonathan Brooks does. You got to let Xavier Worthy do what he does. Same goes for Adonai Mitchell and Jatavian Sanders, Cedric Baxter. You've got to let your playmakers be playmakers. And I know what Rodolfo's going to say. And what about Jonte Cook? Yes, whatever it is, I know, Rodolfo. Though you've got to let those playmakers be playmakers, and they've got enough playmakers to win, even with a quarterback that's not 100%, or even with a quarterback that's young. So knowing that you guys that still have the Jatavian Sanders of the world, Brooks, Worthy, Adonai, CJ Baxter, 100% reasons to believe. And then the fifth thing, because I just want to knock those out quick, is that, Texas is winning games that it traditionally loses. These one-score games have traditionally been the Achilles heel as relates to Steve Sarkeesian, and you're not dealing with that. Now this year, Texas is finding a way to win those one-score games, and he'll point to the culture and being the culture being that thing. But what he's been able to do as far as pulling out 1-point victories, I said 1-point game, 1-score victories, that's kind of been the thing. So let's do that. All right, I want to get through that real quick. Let's do your buy or sells, because we probably got another 15 minutes or so. So let's get as many of your buy or sells in here as possible, because we got our Prize Pick show at 10. And so I got to clear the deck, get out the way, allow Blake to do a reset on everything, set up everything for the next show. So I got to so Thursday, just guys know that's just the drill. It's kind of a little bit of a fire drill, but we'll get through this. Buy or sell. Brooks and CJ Baxter go for 100 each. Buy. Why the hell not? We just went through it, right? We just went through the TCU's run defense is not that good. And then we know that you've got the top running back in the country, and CJ is coming along. And so why not? Yes. And you got a young quarterback who is going through the growing pains. And if you got Quinn who's able to play, you got an older quarterback who is kind of banged up. So yeah, you better rely on your run game. Why not? Why not let this be the week that Jonathan Brooks gets 30 carries? Sure. Why not? So I'm 100% with you, Mark Ruiz. I would buy on that. I don't know if this is a game where you want your quarterback throwing for 350 or 400 or something to that effect. I'm not quite sure that bodes well for Texas, because I think that's I think that would be a very desperation move. Be interested to see what the Prize Picks come out right now. I believe this probably Prize Picks not out for Texas yet, is it? I highly doubt that they have it at this moment. That's probably gonna be like a Friday thing. But yeah, I will definitely buy on both of those. We got the next one. Benji, my homie. Buy or sell. Sark will get an extension if he wins at least 10 games. I'll be honest with you. I want to sell on that. Now, they could add in, the thing is, Benji, it could get tricky because they can add in like an extra year or something. And so it's possible, Ben, like they just add in an extra year. If I was Texas, I wouldn't add in any more than a year. And here's why. If you're Texas, you've been bitten by my coach had one good season and I extended him thing before, and you've seen what's happened. You saw what happened with Shaka. You saw obviously what happened with Tom Herman. And if you're Texas, you got to Texas, let me tell you this. Texas has got to get out of the habit for rewarding coaches for doing the job that they are expected to do. And that's a Texas problem. That a coach all of a sudden exceeds, all of a sudden has a really, really good season, right? Just has a really good season. Now all of a sudden, now it's like, oh, we gotta extend them. Why? No, you don't. No, you don't. That's the job. The job is to put 9, 10 wins to get them in the Big 12 championship game. It's not like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this. gotta get an extension. Like, no. Remember a few years ago when Kansas beat Texas, and because Kansas beat Texas, you're like, which time? The first time, and then they gave the coach who used to be here, a Texas high school coach. Then they fired him unjustly at Kansas, and he sued and got his money back. And props to him. I forget his name. Beatty, right? David Beatty, right? Remember they gave him an extension after that, after one win. Sometimes it's like, no, man, no. You're supposed to beat that team. And so if I'm Texas, I just bit my lip. If I'm Texas, I don't give him an extension, man. I say, congratulations. You did what you're supposed to do. Now continue to do it. You continue to do it, then I'll give you the extension. But if you don't continue to do it, then no, man, that's not how we do. You don't see Alabama. You guys always want to make Alabama comparisons, right? Always want to make Alabama, well, Alabama does this, and Nick Saban does this, Alabama does this, and Nick Saban does this. You know what Alabama doesn't do? Give Nick Saban a new contract every time he has a successful year. You know why? Because he's supposed to have a successful season. They don't give him a new contract because he gets 10 wins, right? So I'm hoping, that maybe they hold off on that and say, hey, you did it once, do it again. Do it again, and now we'll talk about it. But right now, no. And by the way, pay raise, Mark Reese, I'm just telling you, in my opinion, you tell them you're going to the SEC. Because here's the thing. I'm going to the SEC next year. Don't you want to see how the team does in the SEC first before you really kind of start committing too much more? That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. So why don't you let him get into the SEC? Do that in the SEC. I'm just saying there's enough examples across the country of universities that overcommitted to their coaches and are looking at like, oh, what's the payoff? That just ask LSU, ask Texas A&M, ask USC, like ask these programs who said like, I'm just going to drop all this cash on them. So that for me, no. Let them get to year two. Let them get through year one in the SEC and have this kind of success, and then put them in the playoffs, and then go ahead and give them that stuff. Now you know. But outside of that, I would not do it. So I'm gonna sell on it. I thought I started to buy and then I sold. I talked myself into it. Longest Horn, a Texas boy. I see your super chat, so I'll get to you in a second. Buy or sell? We see Quinn and Malik play significant downs this weekend. I'm going to sell on that only because I think that scenario, Longest Horn, requires something bad to happen in the game. It either requires Quinn to start and then he gets hurt, or it requires Malik to play and then all of a sudden he can't go. Then he stinks it up and then can't play. Now I like the thought process is, hey, could you play two quarterbacks? But I also think there's like a rhythm thing that kind of gets associated with that. So I'm going to sell on that. I think whoever the quarterback is, that's who the quarterback is going to be from start to finish. And if something happens and a quarterback gets a yank, then something bad has happened. But I can't see Sark doing a two QB system. I think that would kind of be a little bit weird, rotating them every few downs and every few series. If Quinn can throw, he can throw. If he can't throw, he can't throw. That's kind of is what it is. But good question. I got a super chat that's in here. So my man, what you know about them Texas boys? Buy or sell? All the receivers have had their game with their scripted plays. Sark will call a game that everyone eats, and finally we will see a 4-quarter team. Buy or sell? All the receivers have had their game with their scripted plays, and Sark will call a game that everyone eats, and finally we'll see a 4-quarter team. A 4-quarter team. So basically, are you talking like 14 points in the first, 14 points in the second, like 14 points in each quarter kind of thing, and dominating start to finish? I don't know. Like, I guess when you say finally see a 4-quarter team, did you not think that like BYU wasn't for all 4 quarters? Because I never felt BYU was a threat. I guess it's like the word that's got me hung up, Texas boy, is finally, because I never felt like BYU was a threat. I thought they were pretty effective against a Baylor as far as all, maybe a slow start in the first, but definitely a explosion in the second. So I don't know. It's like I'll buy on this premise. I don't think TCU is that good. And I do think that Texas is a much better team than TCU. And Benji is like, you think seeing us dominate for a full 4-quarter game? I think you've dominated. I just thought you dominated BYU just a few weeks ago. So I don't know. That's where my thing is. I feel like that's that's been done. Just kind of my opinion. But if you're asking me, will Texas struggle? I don't think they're going to struggle that much against this TCU program. Now, I might be wrong. Might be wrong. Might be wrong. But I don't. If they do struggle, let me just say this: if they do struggle, boy, that's not good. That's something to be concerned about. But this is a team that this defense should be able to absolutely just wallybop TCU from on the offensive side of the ball. They just should be able to. So I'm just gonna buy that it'll be a 4-quarter game. I'll buy on that one. I'm not. I'll probably take the over as far as points are concerned. Eric Hart. Whoa. Malik will be a QB for Texas in 24. So Eric, I would love. Oh my gosh. My gut says I'm gonna buy it. My gut says I'm gonna buy it. Eric, I'm only buying it under the premise that Quinn is leaving. That's the only reason I'm buying it. I'm buying it under the premise that Quinn is leaving and that Malik has had plenty of opportunities to leave and he hasn't. And because Malik hasn't, it leads me to believe that he wants to be there. And so I'm going to buy it as of November the 9th at 9:23 a.m. Okay, Eric, that is my caveat of caveats. I'm buying it as November 9th, 9:23 a.m. I reserve the right, Eric, to change my mind at December 9th, 9:23 a.m. and definitely by June the 9th, 9:23 a.m. I'm reserving the right, sir. So can you give me that, Eric? Can you at least do me a favor, Eric? Here's what I want you to do. Eric, do me a favor. Let me look at my calendar. Okay, you can't ask me that on December the 9th. Okay, so feel free to ask me that question on December the 8th, because December the 9th is a Saturday. Feel free to ask me that same question. I want you to put this in whatever your calendar is. Ask me that on December the 8th. And then on January the 9th, which would be after the new year, and it looks like it should be after the national championship game. Okay. Ask me at those 2 times. And then as we move closer, because everything's real time. So then in real time, I'll let you know. Okay. Deal? Put it down. Javier Rubio, buy or sell. There's a 75% chance or better that Texas runs the table in the regular season. I don't know what the odds are, but I think 75% is probably pretty good. I feel like there actually it's pretty higher. Did you hold on? I want to actually there is Blake, there's like a projection thing from ESPN. You know what I'm talking about? Exactly. Blake is going to get it. There's this actually here. Is this the thing when you click? No. Is this the thing when you click? I'm talking about the college football projections. There's a website. Oh, you have it here. Okay, that's fine. Actually, Blake's got something here. There's another one that's really cool though. So it looks like hell, I can't see. It looks like there's a 41% chance that Texas wins out.
Yeah, this is ESPN FPI. They have Texas had a 41% chance to win out.
There's another one, Blake. There was something. Hold on, let me look at what Catch posted this week, and let me go rankings. Hold on one second. And there's a really.
They also have Texas at a 39% chance to make the playoff.
39%.
Correct.
There's somebody. There's a ESPN thing. It's okay. I wish I would have known it. I meant to bookmark it and I meant to send it to you. So that's kind of a little bit on me. And if Catch didn't post so damn much, I could have actually like found this thing a little bit easier. No, hold on. There's a really good one. If I can find it within the next minute, I will. And then if not, then it's all good. But there's another one that it's like it gives you the scenarios for it. Anyway, oh well, I won't find it. I won't find it at this moment. But there's someone posted something there. Golly, it would have been really cool for Blake to put on the screen. But Catch posted a bunch of different things. I won't be able to have it. All right. Oh well, sorry. Let's do this. There's a super chat that's in here, Blake. So let's go ahead and get this question. Paul Chris has done anything significant? Well, I'll be on buy. The run game has been pretty good. So and so that's kind of Paul Chris, his expertise. But I think that the thing you got to understand about analysts is that their job is not to do what the job of coaches. The job is to do the job of an analyst, in which is to look through information, be a sounding board, and that's it. But they're not here to coach or anything like that. It's just a person to throw some ideas off of. But yeah, I would say that you look at the run game, you look at the offense scoring 30 points or more in every game this season. You look at there's been some positives, I would say, with the offense, but ultimately Steve Sarkeesian is the play caller. And so Steve Sarkeesian goes, it's not like Chris can be on the headset and do anything. He's got to sit there and watch just like everybody else. He's got to watch it unfold. So yeah, I would say he's had an impact for sure. So yeah, I would buy on that, Jay Harv or Paul Chris, if that's you. That's your burner account. Let's do a couple of more, Blake. And before we gotta get out of here, you got any more, Blake? Okay, Benji, buy or sell. The CFP committee is pushing schools to schedule easy wins in the out-of-conference schedule. Buy. Oregon. There's right now, if Texas can't be rewarded for having quality victories and having more quality victories than Oregon does, then there's no reason to schedule anybody of significance going forward. Just schedule whoever the hell you want to. That's what they're telling you. They're telling you playing the tough teams doesn't matter because they can't justify it. They can't justify the Oregon. So yes, Benji, if you're Texas and this is what you're seeing, then you say to yourself, all right, well, we know what happened the last time we were in the college football playoff hunt and we were playing against tough teams in our conference. We see how that worked out for us. So you know what? If they don't care about it, then no, we just won't do anything else. We'll do the 8-game schedule and we'll do 4 games against just a bunch of easy teams, and then just get to, at the end of the day, Benji, just get to 11-1. However you get there, it's all that matters. Just get to that, and the committee will reward you. That's what they're saying. 11-1 versus wherever you play is better than 11-1 versus playing tough teams. That's the ridiculousness of the committee. And then do one more. Chris Nelson said, I answered your question before I could ask it. I don't even know what your question was, Chris, but I'm glad we're on the same wave. And then Brown Hammer. Buy or sell. Quinn will be a game time decision. I'm buying on that one. I'm absolutely buying that. That's what's going to be. I'm buying a game time decision for Quinn. And I think we'll probably hear as much from Sarkeesian today, unless something just went dramatically wrong in practice today. If he rules him out today, which I don't think expected, but if he rules him out today, that means something went wrong in practice, and that's not a good thing for Quinn long term. You want Quinn to be as close to playing 75% game time decision, all that kind of stuff as possible. The last thing you want to hear on a Thursday that he's out, because if he's out on a Thursday, it's not good for anyone. All right, guys. I told you guys I had to make a shorter show because in the next 30 minutes, we will have the prize picks show that's coming in, our prediction show. So I'm going to have to get out of here. But I'll be right back. I'll be back in 30 minutes. So from my producer, Blake, who's producing behind the scenes, who'll be producing all day today. So pray for him. Y'all send him some Uber Eats. Somebody send that man some Uber Eats and some adult diapers. Because he ain't gonna be able to move out of that chair all day long. So somebody get in there, or at least send him some specs. Let him at least feel good about himself. But y'all take care of Blake. And I'll see you guys in the next 30 minutes. And then, of course, be back tomorrow. Remember what I always say, live each day like it was your last. One day it will be. And we will talk soon. Y'all take care. See you in 30 minutes.